6 months in, and an ABC Washington Post poll showing the president's approval rating at a not-so-hot 36%. But there is a new Wall Street Journal NBC poll that shows 50% approval if you go and focus on the counties that Donald Trump won back last November. To UVA Center for Politics Director Larry Sabato on what he makes of all of that. What do you think, Larry?
Well, Neil, it's a combination of two things, obviously. The Russiagate and related controversies and scandals, that is one part of Trump's problem. I think the larger part, actually, is the fact that he hasn't been able to get any of his top priorities through a Republican Congress. Now, you can argue about how much of that is his fault and how much of it is the House's fault and how much of it is the Senate's fault, but to voters who don't follow all the ins and outs, they simply know that nothing's been done.
You know, Larry, a lot of people always say, it depends on what you read, and you've got a great sweeping view of history, so you're going to help us with this. They live in the moment and say, oh, man, this is the worst any president ever done. I guess at this juncture of the presidency in modern polling, that's true. But other presidents have had rough first half years, right? Can we go through that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, just go back to Clinton. Clinton had probably the next lowest to Trump, and he was in the low 50s or high 40s by the end of that first year, depending on which poll you referred to. And remember, that led to a disaster in 1994. He had a very tough, poor first 2 years. So you can bounce back from things like that. Now, unfortunately, it frequently takes a terrible disaster or calamity, like the Oklahoma City bombing in Bill Clinton's case, or for George Bush. Now, he was at 51. 9/11 pushed him up to 90% briefly, and then for quite some time in the 60s and 70s. So you never know what's going to happen tomorrow. You don't know what's going to happen next year. You know, the president tweeted something yesterday that has been ridiculed, and I'm going to support him on this, Neil. I'm going to shock you. He said, close to 40 isn't bad at this particular juncture. Well, given everything that's happened, that's true, and he actually was close to 40. Why? You just said 36%. Actually, if you went into the entrails of that poll, he's at 39% among registered voters. If they had narrowed it further, to likely voters, he would have been in the low 40s, very close to where he was on Election Day. So yeah, I don't know how much things have really changed since November 8th. People are really dug in.
But they've bounced around since he's become president around these levels, and other presidents bounced around similar levels in their first few months in office. John Kennedy obviously came storming back from low levels. So are they outside events that do it? You touched on events for Bill Clinton, or is it just the fact that you know, it could take something as surprising as a legislative victory, maybe on the health care front, maybe on the tax cutting front, maybe both? What would do it?
Yeah, well, I think human-powered events and you know, God-caused events. So human events would be getting a couple of big pieces of the legislative package passed, and that's still within the realm of possibility. You know, they can do things at the last minute. The guy who always does it is Mitch McConnell. Remember all the times that he has engineered last-minute deals right before Christmas? You know, even right before Congress.
I mean, the president sorely needs a W here. You think he can do that?
Well, if he can't do it on health care, I'll tell you, if they can't get a major tax cut passed, tax cuts are the magic elixir of the Republican Party. They cure all ills, right? No matter what you've got.
But it would really depend on, they'd have to shelve this health care thing if they're going nowhere fast, and that apparently is quite the thing to do.
Yeah, they've got to make clear what it is they can get passed and then do it. And then, as I said, the other thing that could produce it is some disaster where Trump serves as a unifier. He's got the potential to do that, but he's never exercised it, mainly because of what you discussed earlier in the show. He's constantly on the attack. He never lets anything go. And as president, you have to let things go, and you don't respond to petty attacks. But he does. He responds to everyone.
So does everyone in my family. It just comes with the term. Professor, thank you very, very much. Good seeing you again.
Thank you, Neil.